Hello, welcome to Tuesday. My name is Ultra David. We have here jchensor.
How's everybody going?
Doing great. This is Tuesday. We're officially back to our full regular week of shows.
That's correct.
For the first time in a couple months.
Yep, we just did the first episodes, the first attack, and level 3 focus yesterday.
Yeah, and by the way, those are being uploaded to YouTube right now. That'll take a little bit of a while, but that's in progress. So.
Cool. And last week we did the Tuesday show just specifically to talk about the announcement of the EVO lineup.
Yeah.
But today what we want to do is, obviously we're coming back here. It's 2013. A lot of stuff happened in 2012. And, I guess, I just want to talk about a lot of the things that happened, how you feel the year went. The trends of the games themselves, the quality, like did the events improve as this year as compared to 2011 and such? So,
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, the easiest question to ask is, do you feel like there was any specific trend you saw this last year in the community at all that you think is of note?
The community at large, huh?
Yeah, Or if you want, you can even talk about a specific game, or
I think the major trend was professionalization. I think that was the overarching trend in 2012. That seems like it's probably going to get followed up in 2013.
Right.
That is to say that more players were professionally sponsored. There were more tournaments that had sponsorship that was kind of outside what the usual purview of sponsors would be. Mm-hmm. There was more money involved. Capcom got involved finally.
That's right.
In running tournaments professionally. You and I have this now as an actual side job rather than just like for funsies.
Yeah, we're getting esports nickels now, right?
Right? Yeah, man, we're past pennies. Believe that. Not really.
No.
But the fact is that we are treating it more like that.
Yeah,
we are treating it more like a job. And I know that tournament organizers are, players are, all that sort of stuff. And that's good in some respects. It's good because we can get more tournaments that are better quality. We can hopefully get the attention of more developers, maybe get more games.
Right.
Maybe we can reach more players to expand our community. All that stuff is great. At the same time, there are some downsides too.
Okay.
I know that there are players who don't like this aspect of video gaming.
Right.
That they don't want the professionalization. I totally sympathize with that. People who have been around for a while know how it used to be, and they like that, and that's totally fine.
Yes.
And they don't particularly like the fact that things are changing in this direction. But nevertheless, that is the trend. So that in my opinion is the biggest one.
Nice.
What about you?
For me, just within the fighting games themselves, the trend that I'm seeing right now is just how quickly games are being figured out now. We've had situations before, obviously back in, the old days, for CVS2 and all this stuff, for MVC2, it took us a long time before we began optimizing games. And in fact, you kind of touched on this yesterday when you talked about how Marvel 3 is like the backwards ST, that it took a really long time for ST to get the really derpy things to come out.
Yeah.
And Marvel, we found the derpy stuff right away, and
Instantly.
now we have to figure out how to counter the derpy things. And honestly, if Marvel 3 came out when Marvel 2 came out, we wouldn't have found all these derpy things. It would have taken forever. But with as much exposure we have through just like champ experimenting, like one person finds a TAC Infinite, and then, another person says, oh, I found this alternate Magneto TAC Infinite, which is like completely brain dead easy. I don't know if you saw that one with the Unfly. And then like the next day, like 5-10 pros have mastered it already. It's just like the information spreads so quickly, so that what we saw, especially from what we're seeing the trend in Marvel right now, is that it seems to be spiking towards Virgil, towards Zero, these specific teams. Whereas a lot of people, we used to talk about MVC3 as like, oh, there's going to be all sorts of teams we still haven't explored, but it feels like it's kind of funneling its way in. And, a lot of people, I know we both agree that Street Fighter 4 is really balanced. It's really, any character can win. Like we've seen a bunch of T-Hawks do well recently, right? But the domination that Infiltration has had with Akuma has kind of generated this thing with all the top players where they're like, I'm dropping my character, I'm picking Akuma now, I'm picking Fei Long, you know, so it's like, again, spiking towards this kind of top tier, you know, so I have this funny feeling 2013 is going to be very interesting.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, particularly with Marvel and Street Fighter. What do you think was the biggest trend in Marvel 3 this year?
Virgil.
Really?
Yeah.
Just one character is your answer.
I feel like Virgil just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And even Zero, like everyone thought Zero was super cheap. And he is. Yeah. He's a stupid character, right? I mean, he's a stupid character. Like I think you mentioned it yesterday as well. You know, if he touches your first character, 2 more mix-ups and he can win the game.
Yeah.
Right? So he's going to kill your first character, next character comes in, mix-up, next character comes in. He can just win that way, right? But Zero just hasn't been winning any majors, weirdly enough. And that's always like one of the complaints. You know, a lot of people are saying Zero, he doesn't win majors or whatever like that. And meanwhile, Virgil is just getting stronger and stronger. Obviously, the other trend is Mora Doom.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we just had Apex top 4. 3 of them were Mora Doom.
Well, 3 of them were Morrigan. Dominion has, he doesn't have Doom on his team.
Oh, that's
so it's Morrigan, but...
That's right. So, I mean, it definitely feels like... I mean, we've talked about it all year long. Like, there's going to be teams that are going to counter Morrigan and stuff like that. But it hasn't seemed to have been happening right now. So, it's... so it feels like it's just getting a little bit more... I'm curious now because I was talking to Justin recently, and all he talks about is TAC infinites. He's like, this whole game is going to be TAC infinites eventually, kind of like those crouch cancel. It's almost like exactly like crouch canceling in Alpha 3, is that when it came out, everyone was like, they're too long, they're too hard to set up, and then after a while in Japan, you saw that it was just like all crouch canceling infinites.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, because there are characters that kill without using them. And if you can kill without using them, then there's no reason to take that gamble.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know about that. That said, certainly they're helpful, right? If you, especially for some team combinations, or characters that might not be able to kill on its own hit, you can go into Doom or whatever, Amy, or just arf, and it's the easiest one. I mean that's definitely a thing. But I think that the biggest trend is I think you kind of characterized it a little bit, that it's the establishment of shells, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's like finally getting that. Like you said that for a while, especially in Marvel original Marvel 3, there weren't that many really. There weren't that many like set combinations of 2 to 3 characters. There were a couple. Remember like Wolvie Akuma, right? Like
best friends forever.
Yeah,
that was the joke.
I mean there were a few others, but it wasn't. It wasn't as prevalent as it seems like it is now. So Mora Doom is one of them. I mean there are lots.
Anything May Cry, right?
May Cry. But the thing is that it's not just those top combinations, Doom Amy, etc.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just that stuff.
Yeah.
It's even a little farther down, like team, like the big guys, right? Like Hagar Hulk seems to be a combination now. So like people are like settling down, and I play that team, or I play that shell. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's some top tier shell.
Nova Spencer,
yeah, there it is. So that's starting to finally get figured out, and as the game goes on, it'll get more and more so like that. There's just no getting around that, and I don't know that necessarily means that it'll be all about the tiers, and that you'll be able to pick from like half a dozen at most, like in Marvel 2, and reasonably expect to compete. I think it'll probably be a little bit more balanced than that, but it's not going to be that much more balanced than that. You're just not going to have a lot of the characters show up anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm still playing, right, and I don't really have a good shell in my team.
Yeah, that's true.
That's. I remember talking to Filipino Champ. I was like, "Hey, teach me how to play Marvel." He's like, "What's your team?" And I was like, "Oh, right now it's Nova, Doom, Felicia." He's like, "That team is ass." I was like, yeah, it probably is. So, obviously I had actually even thought about doing Nova Spencer Felicia. Like going to Nova Spencer Shell or something like that. Or Spencer Doom even. Spencer Doom's another one.
Okay.
Because you get like 7,000 up grapples with the hidden missiles on the way up and the hidden missiles on the way down and stuff. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a big one. Then what about with Street Fighter 4?
So I touched on this. I think the biggest trend in Street Fighter 4 happened because of the 25th anniversary tournament.
Okay.
And that when it finished, when it completed, and now that we've had Infiltration destroying everybody at EVO and then winning at the 25th anniversary with a 6-0 over Daigo, pick a top tier to me is the trend for Street Fighter 4 now, because dude, after 25th anniversary, like I swear it was like the top player emo fest on Twitter. You know? Everybody was like, my character's useless. He can't win. I can't do anything with his character anymore. We can't beat Asia if we keep playing our favorite characters. And so, you know, PR Rog said that this weekend is going to be his first time using Fei Long in a tournament. I think, you know,
interesting.
Justin and Ricky have won. I think Ricky said he's going to go Cammy possibly. Flash Metroid is learning Akuma. Right. Even though he found Gen, he was like, I like Gen. He's made for me. Now he's playing Akuma. Right. You know, all these American players are going somewhere else. Like, I don't know who Dominion is switching to, but he's talked about it because, you know, he just says Guile can't compete and such. Yeah. So, you know, that's what it feels like to me is the trend, is that 2013 we may see this really, really... We may see the character variety kind of diminish unless we start seeing other characters just start shocking people, you know?
I think that's the wrong lesson.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but it is the lesson that people are taking.
So I think you're right that, there's no debating that, right? Like that is what happened. Right. That is what is happening. But I think that misses what the real lesson is, I think. Mm-hmm. Even from that 25th anniversary thing. The lesson is that if you want to play against Infiltration, you have to have some character that deals with his character.
Right.
Okay? That doesn't necessarily mean pick a top tier. There are characters that deal with Akuma. All right? There aren't that many, but there are some. And, you know, I think that there are... I think it's strange that people reacted to that with switching away from characters that I think do deal okay with Akuma. Mm-hmm. It's just that they saw that Akuma is doing well, and Akuma is one of the best characters in the game, and okay, so let's also pick one of the best characters in the game. But I just don't think that is... I don't think that is required, or that it's borne out by the facts. Because other than that, with the exception... I can't even say with the exception of that tournament, because like Zangief did really well, right? It's been the case that in Street Fighter 4 tournaments over this year, we've had probably the widest character placings in top 8s that we've ever had in any game in Capcom games. Like, I don't want to bring up games that I don't know that well. But as far as Capcom games go, I can't think of another one that has had more variation. We've had top 8s that have been all 8 different characters. We've had, in fact, top 8s that have been 10 and 11 different characters because people have had different ones. We've had top 12 that have been totally different, top 16s that have been almost totally different. So you have all these characters that clearly can be effective. But the thing is that they tend to require that they run into certain matchups. So like Zangief can do well, but he can't run into a Sagat. He can't run into a Jury. The lesson is that it's a counterpick game. You know, I mean, I don't know why people aren't taking that lesson to heart. You have all these characters that are clearly viable. They have bad matchups. None of them has... There's no character that has no bad matchups. That's what this game is, okay? You can pick a character to deal with your character's bad matchups. But people, I don't know why, people haven't really been doing that.
So rather than jumping ship, like, pick up the character that covers the whole...
Yeah. If you're playing Rufus, you have a character that does really well against a good portion of the cast. Fact.
Right.
If you have trouble against some characters, don't drop Rufus. Pick up another character. Okay? Like, why? I don't know why people aren't doing that. I've talked with Justin about this and everything.
Right.
That you're right that the trend among top players right now is to try to go with the higher tier character, but I don't think that is necessarily what needs to be going on.
Fair enough. And it's funny, some people are asking, like, you know, what matchups are bad for Akuma? And Endro was joking, like, he was like, oh, David's going to say Hakan. And you actually do think Hakan beats Akuma,
I do think
right?
he beats Akuma, for a few reasons. Even when he's not oiled, the Vortex is stupid on Hakan. You can make it work. 2, right? With Ultra 2, beating anything that's in the air. Okay, maybe he times it so he's on the ground. EX Spinning Pile Driver takes off a quarter of his life.
Right.
Like, if this is just not worthwhile. Like, it can work, but it's, like, stupid as a...
Right.
He can't walk around with sweep in the mid-range because that's a free jab slide punish. If he tries to teleport out of situations, Hakan can react with slide easily. And if he has Ultra 2, slide goes under Ultra 2. If he
can chase down backwards air fireballs, right?
He can EX slide through air fireballs and ground fireballs. Anyway, I do think that is true. But it's not just him. I think that Cammy does pretty well, and I think that Ibuki does pretty well, and there are a couple other characters I think do okay too.
Yeah, Flash Metroid was just talking about how Ibuki versus Akuma was a terrible fight, that Ibuki just destroys him.
Yeah, totally.
So
Akuma has bad matchups. I think your Cammy does. I think Seth does. I think Faye does. And they don't have that many. That's why they're top tier characters. Yes. But they're there.
Yeah.
And for some reason, people haven't learned that lesson. So.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, we're so used to it because we played ST, right? I mean, obviously, I'm one of the really stupidly adamant people who never switch characters in that game. But
that's not true.
Okay, I have switched characters. Yeah, that's true.
Against Honda.
Against your Honda. Yeah. I've switched characters before. And in fact, actually, at Wednesday Night Fights, I hate Cammy Fei Long in Street Fighter 4. I have no idea how to play that fight. I fought a Fei Long, and he ran over my Cammy for free. I switched to Zangief. And Shibble Tim was like, dude, I play him with my Zangief all the time. Like, what are you doing? He's going to destroy you. And I came really close. The fight was way more comfortable than anything I've ever experienced with Cammy versus Fei Long. So, yeah. And a lot of people tell me Cammy's not bad against Fei Long. Just got to knock him down and then vortex him. But I don't know. Right? I can't knock him down. I just can't. So.
Okay. Well, let's. Do you want to take a little break?
Sure, no problem.
When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the year 2012 and some of our ideas and impressions from that year.
All right. Be right back.
Hey, welcome back to the Tuesday show on UltraChenTV. We're talking about the year 2012 in review.
Yep. And, not only have there been all these games, we just touched on two of them. There's just like 1,000 games that came out last year.
Yeah, I definitely think that's another big thing from 2012 is the fact that it was the year of games. There were so many games that either came out or were
re-released.
Or were re-released or were out, but like people didn't pick them up until 2012 really. Yeah, I don't know. I tried to make a quick list, but I didn't get to all of them. It was, 8 or 9, 10 games, something like that.
And it's really interesting because in 2013, there's not a lot of games on the horizon.
Right, yeah.
I mean, obviously, Plus R is coming out. 2013 of Cross Tekken is coming out.
Yeah, Injustice. Dive Kick.
But maybe MLP will come out.
Yeah, MLP, yeah. Well, yeah, I guess it's up to the schedule.
Like, last year, the major fighting game studios, like every franchise that we knew came out with a new version. Mortal Kombat wasn't new, but
that's true. But they started working on Injustice. That group did.
But we had DOA, a new Tekken. King of Fighters 13 obviously was getting bigger at the time.
Soul Calibur 5.
Soul Calibur 5. Ultimate Marvel came out just last year as well, right?
Didn't it come out just before last year?
Wasn't it in February? Oh, no, the original was in
February.
Right? Yeah. Okay, Ultimate Marvel.
So, okay, but it was, just before.
Yeah.
There was a new almost everything. It was hard to get grips and I don't know, I guess we'll talk about what we think about 2013 coming up, but I think that part of it is going to be the narrowing down of which games we play.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Anyway.
But not only were we inundated with games, but I also feel like one of the biggest things of 2012 is that we were inundated with majors.
Yeah, like every other week it seemed, at least a couple of times a month it seemed, there were tournaments that everybody wanted to call majors, and we were definitely part of that problem. All right, there's no getting around that. I'm trying to scale that back this year, but
I mean, at this point in time, it's going to be interesting because last year, we just had a ton of events. The top players flew out just to every event possible. And at some point in time, I felt like towards the end of the year, the event viewership was kind of dropping. Mm-hmm. Because I think it just really started to feel like, well, if I don't watch this major today, 7 days from now, I'll just watch this next major, And so it didn't really feel like everyone was clamoring themselves, all right, here's the one I need to watch.
Yeah.
And this year, 2013, I hope that does change, and it feels like it's gearing towards that way already, with only 4 events on the road to EVO.
Right.
You know?
And even in addition to those 4 events, there aren't that many more that are gigantic, it seems. I mean, Winter Brawl, ECT, Final Round, like Samurai. Or, I always say that. Shadowloo Showdown. I always say that when I try to talk about that tournament.
Showdown, that's awesome.
I always say that. Yeah. Southeast Asia Major. There are a couple more. But even with just those, that's 10, maximum 10 throughout the year, and I think it's actually fewer than that are really the majors now.
I mean, Big E usually has, his events like Winter Brawl and all these things are always kind of like pseudo majors, right? Not quite to the scale of something.
Winter Brawl had 1,000 people last year.
But Winter Brawl did really well. So Big E, I'm hoping we get to this point right now where not only, like we were talking about how everything's funneling the top tiers in games, I'm kind of hoping the events kind of go that direction. That's not saying I don't want other smaller events. I think they should all be there, and I will do everything in my power, work my ass off to promote all these events and stuff. But, I would love to see a more stronger focus on specific events to be Grand Slams. You know what I mean? You've heard me talk about it before. I'm always going off on these crazy tennis analogies. Mm-hmm. And I really, really would love to see fighting games go this way of tennis, where there's like the 4 Grand Slams, and then all the other events are like, there's middle tier events, there's minor events, and, the people who can manage to get to them can get to them, but then everyone really focuses on these specific events so that. Because the thing is, I'm a tennis fan. I only watch 4 events a year. I only watch the Grand Slam.
Really?
Because I know those are the ones to watch. Those are the big, important ones. And when you watch them, they're a big deal. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't want to limit it to just 4. I would hope we have, a good, 8, 9 events during the year that are amazing to watch, But last year, seriously, there was one every week. And even as much as I love fighting games, there were just weekends I would just go home and I'm like, I don't want to watch fighting games. I don't want to have anything to do with fighting games. I'm going to go out and actually, see the sunlight and stuff like that. So, hopefully this year will be a little better with not calling everything a major.
Yeah, definitely part of that is just people using different terminology. Mm-hmm. We're so used to if you travel to a tournament back in the day, it was a major, right? So we're used to keeping that terminology. We had regionals too, but those tended to be really regional. Mm-hmm. So anyway, now I'm trying to do that. So I was at Apex this last weekend. Mm-hmm. That is the major for Smash. That's their EVO.
Yes,
that's a major.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the fighting game side of it, at least for this year, it was a regional. It was the Northeast. It was down to the Mid-Atlantic, and people from Detroit for some reason showed up too, and Filipino champ from California. That was the only person who wasn't from Upper Midwest or Northeast who went.
Right.
So fine. Calling it a regional is no disrespect to that tournament because it was very well run, and I thought that the action was awesome. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that people should be upset about that. I'm also going to go to Civil War in Richmond, Virginia. Which is probably going to end up being a regional, and I think that the guy who runs that would be fine with that, as long as everything goes well, which I expect that it will be. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing wrong with that, and even apart from the terminology, there is a difference between certain tournaments and others, right? Final Round is going to have so many more people than Civil War will have,
right.
or Apex had for the Street Fighter, Marvel, and Tekken, etc. side of it. But
I still think Final Round is going to be a major.
It can't not be a major. I mean, it's even if it's not a Road to EVO event, it is definitely a major. Mm-hmm. If you live in the Southeast, I know people out there who can't afford to go to more than one tournament in the year.
Yep.
So they go to Final Round. They don't save it up for EVO. Final Round is what they go to.
Right.
So if that's the kind of tournament that you have, and the many years that it's been established and all that stuff, it's definitely a major. There's no getting around that.
Right.
But I think it's fine. I agree with you. I'd love it if we just kind of in general came to some consensus about which ones are majors.
We need to come up with new terminology. That's the problem. Is we don't know what to call them. So I feel like we need to come up with new terminology.
I think it's fine to say that something is a major, that something is a regional, and that something is
that a regional.
Right. Well, that's not a new term. I mean, that's been around since ever I've been in the scene. So, okay. I'm fine with both of those.
And sorry, speaking of Apex, can I interrupt just a little bit? Because tournament organizers cannot keep running these events if people are going to be stupid about these events. You probably saw that they posted that a bunch of stuff got stolen, including sponsor equipment got stolen.
Yeah.
That they have to pay back now to the people who lent them the equipment. And the TO of Apex basically said, because of this, there probably will be no Apex next year. That he just can't afford, because he's going to go broke from paying all these people back from stolen equipment. So, I mean, honestly, if you guys are at events and you see someone doing anything like that, please report them, please stop them. This happened at EVO one year. Some people saw people trying to zip stuff up into a bag, and they reported them, so they ran away and came back with caps and stuff like that and tried to do it again, you know? And if you see these kind of things, help the tournament organizers keep an eye on stuff. If you even see equipment that's kind of loosely standing around, move it, you know, to the side or something, do that, something, and then just, you know, honestly, just if you know who did it, or if you're ever tempted to do it, just understand that, you know, trying to do something, hurting events like this is just, it's completely selfish. There's some people who we're never going to be able to cure of this problem, but, you know, it's a terrible thing to have happen. If anybody has any information on that, on any of the equipment that got stolen, please, you know, tell somebody anonymously. Heck, create a brand new Hotmail account and email us, and we'll spread the word out to other people. But you know what? I mean, we can't have these kind of things happen at events because, dude, if there's no more Apex, that sucks.
It would be a big shame. I mean, the Smash scene is a strong scene, and that's the thing for them. They had people from Asia and South America and Europe and all over North America. It's a big thing. So if that can't happen anymore, it's a big loss. And it's not just big loss to them, but I know that tournament organizer had plans to try to make Apex into a big major, and after it went very well this weekend, people were thinking about going there, but if it can't be run, then it can't be run.
Yeah, especially because in 2012, Apex got kind of a bad rep. A lot of fighting game players went there and didn't enjoy it very much. But it sounds like this year it was ran exceptionally well. Like a huge step
ran very
up.
well. Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, it sucks that he put in all this effort to do this and then get screwed over by a few selfish people who want to just like further themselves, and now he might not even be able to get a chance to improve it anymore. So
yeah, that definitely does suck.
Yeah. I
was really upset to hear about that.
Okay, well, I guess, do you want to take another break? No, it's still a little too early here. So, I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about just in terms of, like, specific events or anything like that?
No, let's move on a little bit to just kind of wrap up what we're talking about with 2012.
Okay. Well, the one tournament thing I want to mention,
cool.
honestly, is the 25th anniversary tournament. Because this is the first time Capcom's been involved, and this is probably the biggest, in my opinion, probably at least number 1, 2, or 3 number storyline of the year is Capcom getting involved with this 25th anniversary tournament. See, normally I would be like, this is cool, 25th anniversary tournament, let's do well with 25th anniversary, let's milk this, okay, cool. But they created the Capcom Fighters Twitch channel, they hired Haunts, they hired Combo Fiend, and they flew Combo Fiend out to Brazil, to all these other places.
Yeah.
So in my heart and in my mind, I feel like that they want to do more and get involved with this whole thing. And that, to me, is extremely encouraging.
Okay.
And even with Cross Tekken, everyone complained about it, and here's this 2013 patch. You know, it remains to be said if it's going to be better or not, but what did they do? They really are trying to gear it to make it a more viable, competitive game and more enjoyable for people to watch. I mean, they changed visual things. That's hardly ever happened. I mean, everyone complained about the stupid bars in Marvel. They didn't do anything to those Marvel bars, right? but now they changed the colors and made the gem colors not as glowy and stuff like that, and quickened the pace so that the launchers weren't like frozen forever. So it actually sounds like they're caring about the viewers and the audience.
Yeah.
So the 25th anniversary tournament and the hiring of Hans and Capcom and Combo Fiend. That's a huge story to me, and I think that's something we got to keep an eye on, and I'm super happy about that.
It's not just Capcom that got involved in that. Kind of. Anyway, Atlas also did.
Yes.
Put a lot of money in for tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Warner Brothers also did for Mortal Kombat.
Right.
They put up a lot of money for MLG. That's
Sega's doing this event in April with Level Up, the Virtua Fighter tournament that's coming out. So
right. So I think that's part of this this major trend of this year that was money getting involved, companies getting involved, and really becoming part of stuff. And the nice thing is that the way that it seems to be happening now is that it's not them running like BS corporate tournaments that like seem stupid and aren't legit.
Right.
They are getting people who are in the fighting game community to help them do stuff.
Yes.
And so the result is the 25th anniversary tournaments were just tournaments, but Capcom was fronting the bill, and their prizes were fancier and the room looked nicer, right? Other than that, they were just regular tournaments. So that's I think a great combination and a good thing for the future, hopefully, as you said.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's face it, all these companies are probably looking at what Riot's doing, and none of them can look at it and go, I don't want to do this. What Riot has done has literally changed the face of competitive gaming, and I think it's a great model for people to follow if they can figure out a way to make it work for their genre of game. So,
so 2012, lots of good players, lots of people doing good stuff all year long. But in your opinion, if you had to pick the top one or two guys for the whole year, who would you pick?
Are we talking worldwide or just United
Anywhere.
States?
This is the whole thing. The year 2012.
All right. Because GYT, I should say Corner Pressure, that Glenn is running now, and Shibble Tim is on and everything, they picked a bunch of players, and they limited it to the United States, right? So, not limiting it to the United States, you can't argue Infiltration. You cannot argue Infiltration as Player of the Year. This man just made $50,000 in one day and won a car. Nobody in the fighting game community has ever done that.
That's
or
true.
even come close. And, and it wasn't just like Infiltration did it. He did it in dominating fashion. He won EVO 2 games as well, so we made a ton of money there as well. And the thing about it is, he is probably one of the first true students of the game. He studies, he does his research, he has you could tell he experiments. I mean, let's face it, fighting game players are lazy. Most of the times they're just like, I know this works. I kind of know I know the general strategy on how to fight these people. I know this player tends to do this. No, Infiltration has the notes. He knows exactly the setup on how to do everything. When we analyzed the EVO footage of where he beat Daigo, you saw him focus all the time because he was like, I know Daigo throws fireballs at this range, and I'm just going to react by focus forward dashing and putt. Yeah. He did his research, and he treated it probably the most professionally out of anybody that I've ever seen in the fighting game community, and the rewards paid off in spades. And so, without question, Infiltration is my Player of the Year.
I can't argue that. I think that his performance in Street Fighter 4 at EVO was one of the most dominating performances that EVO's ever had. Yeah. He blew everybody up in a year that was one of the most talented years ever for any game. There were so many people there. I can't disagree with that. I think that the other clear person is Chris G. Everybody in the chat seems to be saying the same two names. It's Infiltration and Chris G. Chris G in Marvel is just playing that game like nobody else is.
And you know what the sad thing is? Everyone keeps saying Chris G for Marvel, but he's so good at everything.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
it's not just Marvel. Obviously, everybody knows what he does in Marvel. He's the most dominant player. He has been for some time now. Even at EVO, when he lost Filipino Champ, it was like he got third place, and it was down to just the last 3 seconds of the whole match. So he got very close there. He's gotten very close to winning. He had been getting very close to winning before that. Since then, it's just been all Chris G.
Right.
But it's not just that. In Street Fighter 4, he gets consistent top 8s. In Cross Tekken, he had been before he stopped playing it.
Right.
KOF, he had been before he stopped playing it. In Third Strike, so at Civil War, he got top 8. No, I think he got top.
Didn't he get like 9 swords or something crazy?
Yeah,
like
he won. He won 6 tournaments, I want to say.
He could be like the real Virgil, right?
I forget what it was. Yeah, he could have him spinning around him.
And just like spinning around.
Yeah,
Awesome.
So I mean, he's dominating. He's dominating Marvel, and in addition to that, he's playing so many games so well. Even if he's not the best player in them,
right.
He is clearly super good. And I think, even if it was just for his Marvel performance, I would say that he's one of the best of the year. But in addition to that, the other games I think kind of seal it. So.
Yeah, I always think of fun trivia. I've only played Chris G in a tournament once.
Yeah,
that was at CEO 2011. It was in Mortal Kombat.
He was a top Mortal Kombat player. I remember thinking his Reptile was godlike.
And I played him, and he played Reptile, and I was like, "What? Okay,
yeah.
I'll just walk away now."
Yeah,
so, yeah. He's amazing at pretty much any game he touches. I think Final Round, not in 2012, didn't he win Final Round in Third Strike or something crazy like that? It was like top 2 or something like that. But he's just an amazing player. Just overall, just like a crazy talented player. And nice cat hat, by the way, in Apex.
He only eats French fries, mac and cheese, and like one other thing. I forget what it is. I saw at this weekend
it's like rice, right? Like
it's like
plain white rice. Yeah.
Like this weekend at Apex, I saw him ordering food from this stand at the bottom, and I didn't know what he ordered, and I was like, "So, does this place sell French fries?" He was like, "Yeah, that's right. That's what it was. He was eating French fries." So I don't know how he survives. Pizza is the other thing. I don't know how he survives, but hey, good job. Apparently, that's Street Fighter food. That's fighting game food right there.
Would you have a third player in mind at all, by any chance?
I might say Dominion, because I think it's amazing what he does with that character, who I don't think is even in, like maybe the top half of the cast.
Right. He makes Guile look top tier.
Yeah.
And Guile is mid-tier at best, probably, or middle of the road. I hate calling it mid-tier because they can all win, obviously.
Right.
But in comparison to everyone else, he's in the middle of the pack.
I mean, there are others. I would have said Bala until KOF Grand Finals at Evo, where Mad KOF was ridiculous.
Filipino champ.
Filipino champ is probably the other one that I would say.
Yeah. I mean, Filipino champ. See, I talked about infiltration and all the hard work paying off. Filipino champ was that guy for Marvel. I mean, in a game that everyone said was random, because it is, with X Factors and happy birthdays and just derpiest tactics in the world, to have come in as the favorite in Marvel 3 and actually win.
Right.
That just doesn't, I mean, it's hard to happen until infiltration, but, I mean, before that, everyone was expecting like the biggest crapshoot in Marvel, and the fact that he pulled it off was super impressive.
He did not lose a game at Evo until top 8, which is crazy.
Right, and he was exposing all of his tactics day after day on stream.
Right,
not hiding a single thing.
I definitely think that's a good choice too.
Yeah, cool. All right,
okay. Now let's take a break.
And when we come back, we're gonna pull away from the past and look towards the future, namely like 3 days from now. And we're going to talk about SCR, so stick around.
Hey, welcome back again to UltraChenTV, specifically to the Tuesday show. We spent a lot of time talking about the year 2012, a little retrospective there, but let's move on.
Yeah, we talked about how we were hoping that there's more of a streamline of events, and one of these officially majors that's coming up, even though it has the word regional in its name, maybe they should call it Southern California. They should just call it SoCal Majors from now on.
That'd be
yeah. But Southern California Regionals by Level Up is coming up this weekend, and it's huge. It's got a lot of sponsors. It's going to have a lot of players heading out to it. It's the first Road to Evo event of the year. The past few years, SCR has been run extremely smoothly by the Level Up crew. They always have a lot of things, and last year they were at the UCI, and that's going to be the same for this year. It's going to be at UCI, and I was super impressed with their layout. They had a lot of vendor booths and stuff like that. The events were super hype and everything. And the only thing was, like, Marvel was brand new at that time. So now it's going to be interesting to see SCR.
Ultimate Marvel 3.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see Marvel. Because remember, Justin won with Iron Fist, right? And now...
What?
No one's going to be winning with Iron Fist anymore. Let's put it that way.
You're right. That wasn't that long ago.
No.
It was only a year ago.
Yep. And Justin won with Iron Fist. And it was also in December. So now it's moved to January as well. So, but, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a great major. But they have gone out of their way this year to create some of the craziest exhibitions matches that I've seen in a while. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. I just want to ask your opinion on how you think these exhibition matches are going to go.
Yeah.
Obviously the first exhibition on Friday at 6 p.m., scheduled at 6 p.m., is going to be a Street Fighter Cross Tekken version 2013 Invitational.
Okay.
I don't know who the players are in particular, so I'm just excited to see how that's going to go, because it's going to be like maybe a week before the patch actually drops.
Right.
So we're going to be able to get a preview of that at SCR. I'm sure Justin's going to be in it. Infiltration will probably be playing in it. It's going to be really cool. And a lot of these guys have actually had hands-on time with this game. Like Justin played at IPL and such. So, it's not going to be completely brand new they're jumping into. There have been changes since then. Like I know the IPL build... the rolls were just completely punishable. Now you can block out of the rolls, right?
Really?
I think I remember hearing about that.
I think they're still punishable.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. Okay, but it'll be really interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. My position on Cross Tekken was that it was a good game that had some flaws, but I liked a lot of the game.
Right.
And played it and followed it, and I'm really interested to see. I think mostly who they have, not necessarily who wins. I just want to know: is Jibbo going to be there? Is Ryan Hunter going to be there? Are the people who did a lot to keep that game in the public's eye, as much as they could, and it wasn't always successful, but as much as they could at least, going to be there? I hope Tatsu is there. I hope. I expect that Ricky would be in there. PR Raw, guys who really do like the game.
Mike Ross, Combo Fiend, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Maybe Dominion. I mean, guys who do like the game. And I guess we'll see. I hope to see characters that I care about. I want to see Snake Eyes try to struggle along with Zangief and see how that goes.
Oh man, that's gonna be painful.
Yeah, that's gonna be sad.
Yeah. But let's try to get to some, because I know we're running out of time here.
Oh, that's right. We have a hard limit nowadays.
Cross Counter is coming back, but we'll get to that at the end. So the next one is going to be cool for me to watch. It's going to be at 8 p.m. They've scheduled for Super Street Fighter 4 AE 2012 Wednesday night fights versus FGTV House. And
you said it's 3-on-3, right?
It's 3-on-3.
And who is it?
I don't know what the format is, but the players are going to be Online Tony, Snake Eyes, and Mark Teddy representing Wednesday Night Fights. And obviously, we're good friends with Marcus, and you were practically one of the people who trained him. I mean, I don't
know if I'd go that far. He was already pretty solid.
Yeah, but you were the person better than him that he was, kind of trying to catch up to. So, but in any case, he's doing amazingly well. He's from UCLA. Woo! So I'm super excited to see him, and it's going to be so hard for them though, because they're going up against PR Rog, Ricky, and Filipino Champ.
Yeah. So PR Rog, Faye, presumably Ricky. Right. I think he's sticking with Rufus. I think he said that. And Filipino Champ sticks with Dawson. And then it'll be Online Tony Seth, Marcus with Guy, and Snake Eyes with Zangief. That's a really interesting set of matchups. It's 6 different characters. What a surprise! AE 2012 has different characters. It'll be cool. It's nice because the Wednesday Night Fight guys, all of those started playing Street Fighter 4 in just the last few years, and just became good players in that game since I've been around.
Right.
Which is, I remember the first time I heard Online Tony's name. It was at an AI tournament. And somebody called out that Online Tony's going to play. And we all ripped him up. Are you serious? Your name is Online Tony, and you're trying to play. at this Arcade Infinity tournament. Are you serious right
It's
now?
like, you're going to get bodied.
You're going to get blown up. He was playing Ken. It didn't go that well for him. But, it's been cool. And Marcus, he was pretty good when I first met him, but he's way, way better than he was at the start.
And you know what? The most exciting thing to me is all three of those players have not had a chance to represent their region.
Right.
And so this is going to be new territory for them. Team tournaments do stuff to people.
Yeah.
We saw that at Aftershock when Filipino champ, he didn't get a chance to do much, and everyone thought it was just going to be champ. And then we had guys like Hanzo step up, and we had KB step up, and we had Drew Grimey step up, right? So it was really cool. Team tournaments do stuff to people. So curious to see how that's going to go.
Okay, so the next one at 9 p.m. is Infiltration versus Latif. Obviously, this is also in Street Fighter. This is the weirdest match to me.
Yeah, I know.
Who thought about Infiltration versus Latif? It's cool because they're both awesome players. I just I'm not aware of any beef between them or any previous history or anything. I don't know that there's contention about how the Viper Akuma matchup goes even. It'll be cool because they're both great players. It just seems weird.
Okay, well, I mean, they're saying CC is on, so let's just talk a little bit. There's going to be a bunch of exhibition matches in Marvel on Saturday as well, which is going to be really cool.
F-Champ versus Deus Ex.
Have they announced all these yet? I'm not sure 100% they've announced all the Marvel ones yet.
I don't know if they've announced any of them.
Okay. I know for sure the Invitational's been announced, but
you don't want to get to the others just for fear. That's fine.
I'm not sure. But,
all right, that's fine.
Okay, there's going to be a bunch of really cool Marvel
they are all announced? Okay, people are in the chat are saying,
okay.
probably in order to convince us that we should talk about them.
Okay, sure.
So it's Filipino Champ versus Deus Ex. There's the whole history with Filipino Champ calling Deus Ex a pelican and not being happy about him and thinking he sucks. So there's a really interesting side to that one. Clockwork versus Drew Grimey is really cool. Couple of great Strider players in there that I'm really looking forward to seeing. Justin Wong versus Combo Fiend.
No. Infrit versus B.
I'm sorry. Infrit versus B. There's a little bit of history there, too.
Because that one's going to be really interesting.
I love B's team. I think it's an amazing Frank team.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then Combo Fiend versus Marlin Pie is going to round things out.
Yeah, those are going to be fun. They're first to 10s. I think all of them are first to 10s. So that's going to be super exciting to watch. And like I said, I don't know how Vi was able to pull off a lot of these, and it's just really cool.
I think it's cool that the Filipino Champ versus Deus Ex, because if you recall, when we ran Aftershock, Deus Ex refused to be a part of it because Filipino Champ was there. So
they've since made up.
Have they? Okay.
Yeah, they've talked to at the Curly Mustache. They talked to that was when it started. It was at Revelations. They talked to each other and they talked on stream, and they were kind of like, okay, we'll just bury that and stuff.
Okay.
Filipino Champ swore that he would stop using the word pelican and stuff like that. In only the way that he can.
I know,
he'll stop using it.
Right. So that's what's coming up for SoCal Regionals this coming weekend. Starts on Friday, goes through Sunday. It'll be on twitch.tv/leveluplive. You and I will both be there to commentate, but it's not just us. It's going to be Magus is also there. Mike Ross is going to be doing some stuff.
Even Combo Fiend's going to do some commentary.
Exactly.
Justin Wong will do some commentary. A bunch of people are going to do commentary, so it's going to be really cool. But in case you guys don't know, Cross Counter is back. Cross Counter Live is back, and it's starting probably right now or very, very soon. And I think the pre-show now is going to be handled by our favorite troll, Sanchez.
What?
Yes.
That blows my mind.
Yes. So Sanchez is going to be there, and Vi is going to be on there as well to talk a lot about SCR
as the guest.
Yeah. Gutex is going to be handling the bulk of the hosting duties. So.
And where can people go to find that?
That is going to be on... it's still on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it?
I have no idea. That's why I was asking.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Crosscounter.tv. It should be on there.
Okay, there you go. In case you want to stick around and chat, if it is still on YouTube... I know that their chat is horrible, so if you do want to stick around and chat about the show, everybody's free to stay here at UltraChenTV, and we'll be hanging out and watching it from here as well. So,
all right, guys, enjoy that, and we'll see you guys at SCR this weekend.
That's right, and we'll be back with a normal week of shows coming week.
Yeah. Oh, and also don't forget tomorrow, Wednesday Night Fights is Marvel and Street Fighter. It's going to be a big pre-SCR event. Right. Nothing to do with the season, so you can check that out, of course, on twitch.tv/leveluplive.
Okay.
All right. Peace out, everybody.